Hi everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope your week's off to a great start. Mine is. It's a little chilly here, and I had to get out first thing this morning because I didn't have anything for the morning green smoothie, but that's okay. That's okay. It's nice getting out in this crisp weather. It's different for me. You know, I haven't spent much time in cold weather in quite a few years, so it's all good. I want to start the week out talking about raw food, the raw food diet versus cooked. And I want to talk about the kind of this absolutes on this lifestyle. I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that subscribe button now and then click on the little bell and send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. YouTube unsubscribes people, so you always got to check those send notifications. All right, I'm going to start off. I'm going to read you something. I want you to write this one down because this is some solid truth for you here in its most simple version. The best version of a whole food plant-based diet is the one you're actually going to follow. Let me read that one more time. The best version, raw versus cooked, the best version of a whole food plant-based diet is the one that you're actually going to follow. And I would say I would go a little bit further than that. That was just a simple, good little sound bite there. But the real best version of the whole food plant-based diet is the one that you're going to follow, and the one that you're going to follow in a healthy way. I mean, you know, there's different ways of doing this lifestyle. Not everything, you know, sometimes we just talk about raw versus cooked, and there's other things going on there. There's people that are doing, that are eating cooked, that are, in my opinion, that are much cleaner, that their diets are much healthier than a lot of people do in raw. And then there's a lot of people that are eating cooked that are quite basically doing the goat thing. What's a goat do? Goat eats anything. Goat eats anything around. So, you know, it's not always, I don't like absolutes. I think it might be an age thing for me. I think as we get older, we just finally start to wise up that there's not all these absolutes and black and whites and extreme this or that in the world. You know, people yammer on and on. I was thinking about this over the weekend. I kind of powered down the holiday weekend, even though it really didn't have a lot to do with the holidays. I just kind of felt like powering down. And, you know, I'm on social media just kind of wandering around, and I really just thought about how there's so much of this, people will just yammer on and on and on all day about raw versus cooked. That has become their holy grail. And a lot of, when I take a step back, and you know, if you've been around this lifestyle for a while, if you follow groups or whatever, if you do anything online with this, you've seen this. But have you ever just asked yourself why? What does it benefit a person, no matter which way you believe, cooked, not cooked, fully raw, I don't believe in raw at all? What efficient use of time is that to spend all day debating? Okay, I'm a raw food person, so I'm going to spend my whole day, instead of, like, you know, reading, watching videos, learning things that are pertinent to my lifestyle, the way I do a whole food plant-based lifestyle, I'm going to spend my whole day trying to convince somebody else that I'm right, or this is the universal way of doing it. And, you know, like I say, I can't go there. I can't go there. And I think a lot of times it's just people need validation. I've said from the beginning, I'm a strange character. I don't live within the same human experience that most people do, so I don't need validation. I think a lot of times people need their diet to be validated, or they're eating a certain way. They kind of want people to say, yeah, that's the right way to eat. I don't need any of that. My body lets me know if I'm, oh, I got my microphone on. I hope I didn't make some crazy sound there. My body lets me know if I'm eating the right way. My body has been my guide through this whole journey. You know, I've educated myself a little bit, but you know, I've used this as kind of the laboratory and the experiment, and I put food into my body, or I do this or I do that, and my body lets me know if it works for me. So I don't need any outside sources. I don't need anybody to agree. I don't need anybody to pat me on the back and say, oh yeah, Jack, you're like I've observed your diet looks good. I don't need that, because I've already figured that thing out for myself, and I figured out that it works for me. I'm not saying, that's why I've always tried to stress on this channel, I'm not a preacher. I'm not telling you that Jack's way is the only way. You follow my channel, watch everything I do, and it's going to work for you. No, we're individual beings. My path is my path. I don't have a lot of the problems with food that other people have. Even though I've lived an abysmal lifestyle for a number of years, I came out of it, keeping my fingers crossed so far, relatively unscathed. So I haven't had to do a whole lot of this specific healing or whatever. I just have, cleaned up, and my body has cleansed itself over 5.5 years' time. Is there actually an absolute on this lifestyle? Is there a one-size-fits-all? Is there a one answer that you can give to everybody? I would say no. I would say no. And like I say, I always take my base of experience for what it is. I've lived in the tropics. I've lived away from the tropics. I will keep saying over and over, if you're living in a place, we can go on and on about this raw diet is our natural way of eating, our natural diet, but it's not. It's not our natural diet if we're in some area where we're unable to get tropical fruit. I just firmly believe that. I mean, I'm not even that far north. I know people in Canada. I know people up north, and I know people that are doing it. So I always have to throw out that disclaimer. There's people that are doing it. There's people that are surviving. But in my belief system of how our bodies operate and what really fuels our body, I don't think it's so natural to be a fully raw vegan outside of the tropics, unless you're somewhere and you got the money to spend, or you have access, really good access. Now maybe California isn't really the tropics, but there are places where people have access to good tropical fruit. So we basically just do the best with, our situation, our circumstances, and our heater just came on there. Listen, I ain't working in a studio. Sometimes people make comments about stuff in the background. Until you want a fun daddy and give me a nice little studio and have me a soundproof booth over there, there's going to be noises that pop up from time to time. So there you go. No, but we just, we do the best we can in our circumstances with what we've got. Now, some of the things I've found, raw food diet versus cooked, some more, and this is good for me, being away from the tropics. It's not, even though I'm missing it, I want my fruit, I'm not complaining because I'm getting good information to share on this. And I'm even getting, through my experimentation and doing it up here now, I'm even getting to understand a little bit more about the cooked food. I always find that the lighter the cooked food, still the better for me. The lighter the food is, the less it drains me. Greens, like when we're talking about the least draining of my energy. So you might even take notes this, if it's truly, 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 like everybody goes on and on about out there, like, oh, but it's so cold, I just need something warm. You know what you can do? Make yourself a big pot of collard greens. Big pot of collard greens full of calcium. That's about as unobtrusive as you get when it comes to cooked food. Any sort of a green, if you want to steam it, steam it. Steam spinach. A little bit heavier, and some people have problems with them though, are the cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. Now, I don't have any problem with those, and those are still very light for me. Then you get to the potatoes. Now, I know there are those out there that worship the holy potato, the starch solution. People will absolutely lose their damn minds if you even remotely diss a potato. So go ahead on, worship the potato god. I don't have a problem with potatoes. I ate some just the other day. I ate some of these little creamer potatoes, and they're really good. But I do find that the potatoes, out of all the, as compared to the others, compared to the greens, pull me down just a little bit more, slow my digestion just a little bit, just make me a little bit more sluggish. The potatoes tend to, I can eat a huge amount of potatoes and then I'm hungry again fairly soon. So the potatoes, while I'll still eat them, and I find sweet potatoes work better for me than, say, Idaho potatoes, russet potatoes that you normally bake. What I found recently, and it's kind of a nice texture, is I found the squashes. Thanksgiving Day, I kind of did a squash medley. I put in and I did this in the oven. I cooked a spaghetti squash, and I cooked butternut squash. I cubed the butternut squash, so I mixed those together, and those kind of have that, and they are starchier, I think, than some of the other squash, but that was very satisfying, very filling, and it just didn't have that draining effect on me, that same draining effect on me that the potatoes had. So, you know, I'm finding it. I'm finding my way through this minefield outside of the tropics, and I'm finding my way to try to do this thing as high raw as possible, but still getting in what I feel like I need, and still just kind of entertaining myself a little bit more than anything else. Hold on one second. I'm doing better. A lot of times I used to, people, who's knocking on my door? Ain't nobody supposed to be knocking on my door. I'd have probably flipped out a little bit and been a little annoyed, but I was very pleasant. That's just the difference in life now. I'll finish up with this. I think I'm going to tell you a lot of the motivation of all this that you see online and all this that you see in this the plant-based world, this raw versus cooked. You know, and also too, you got to take with a grain of salt. I'm kind of not a hardcore one, but I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. Always follow the money, and a lot of this raw versus cooked is for brands, YouTubers that can, and people that have programs that are trying to sell something, because this versus that, me against you, this versus the other one, it gets conversations going, and it gets people sucked into them. People like, even though they say they don't, people love drama. And it sucks people in, and it gives people a platform to sell their stuff. Now, that's just my little theory on it. Otherwise, okay, let's say I'm you know, fully raw. I'm as raw as you get. I don't believe in eating one bite of cooked food. And even as an educator, what is my motive? Think about that. You answer me. What is my motive to pound you every day with a message like raw, 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 or cooked is bad? Raw is good, cooked is bad. You know, it always just raises an eyebrow and makes me a little bit suspicious about the whole thing. They're like, what's your motive? What's your motive? You found what works for you, whether it's you're fully in the raw food camp, or you're fully in the not raw food camp, where you believe a raw food diet isn't the way to go. Do it. Do it and enjoy it. Do it and enjoy it, and learn how to thrive even more on this lifestyle. Educate yourself. Don't waste your time all day. Do not waste your time, no matter what, whether you agree with my way of doing it or not. Don't waste your time arguing about it all day. There's so much information out there. I mean, I've got 5 or 6 books sitting in this house right now that I'm like, you'd get way more value if I was able to give you all 5 of those books. Your time would be much better spent spending the time that it would take you to read through those books than spending that time online yammering on with who knows. You don't even know who's out there. It's just a free-for-all. There's no real intelligent thought process going on in that back and forth debate. So like I say, I'm always going to just like try to promote and be inclusive with the plant-based lifestyle. You know, I will always give you tips. I will always tell you that I do feel my absolute best when I'm fully raw as I can possibly be. But I'm just happy when people are on a plant-based diet. You know, they're doing good for themselves. They're doing good for the animals. They're doing good for the planet. End of story. You know, beyond that, it's all just gravy. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Love you guys. Peace.